Hey, what's up everybody, Rich Gaming Guy here. So today in this video, we're going to talk about why so many people are ordering retro game consoles and receiving third-party controllers with those consoles. They're not receiving originals, and it doesn't matter where you go these days, Amazon, eBay, DKOLDIES, Lukie Games, everywhere you go, it seems to be that everybody is selling those original consoles with third-party controllers. Everybody's wondering why, so I wanted to do this video here today and address why I believe this is happening so frequently, because so many people are upset by this, and I will say this, I'm in no way defending this business practice. However, I don't see an issue with it unless there is a misrepresentation of what is being sold. So that means if you are using stock photos that show an original console with an original controller, and then you send out an original console with a third-party controller, that's a major misrepresentation. I think that's shady, I think that's unethical, and it's going to create a negative experience for your buyer. Now, if you advertise exactly what you sell, and they can go in and they can see in the description and in the photos that this is what we have here, this is what you're going to receive, everything is straightforward and clear, then I don't see an issue there. As long as, of course, you're able to see, all right, here we've got a original GameCube, but it comes with a silver third-party GameCube controller. As long as the buyer knows that and it's clear, then I don't see an issue with it, and the buyer's likely going to be saving a few dollars in the process going that generic route as opposed to fully original. So the reason this is happening, I think it comes down to two things. It comes down to supply and demand, and it comes down to profit margin. So with supply and demand, what ends up happening is you have less and less of these original controllers out there every single day, and most people don't know how to repair them, and if they want to repair them, don't know where to go to repair them. It's just not cost effective to pay somebody labor on repairing a controller when you can buy a new one for 30 bucks or so, give or take. So I ran into this issue myself, and I do know how to make repairs, but the issue I ran into was sourcing the part that I needed to make the repair. So I had a Dreamcast controller. I actually had two. Up until recently, I had an original Dreamcast console, and my stepson and I both used to play it a lot. We played Gauntlet Legends. It's one of my favorite games. He enjoyed it as well, which if you guys have kids, retro gaming is tough to push on them if they're used to, everything that we have nowadays with super advanced graphics and all of that. It's a totally different experience in a lot of cases. But he loved this game, I loved this game, so it was fun to play. Issue I ran into was the one of the pieces that actually keeps the buttons in place cracked underneath. It was a really basic fix. I opened it up, knew exactly what needed to be done, but I couldn't locate the unique piece that actually kept everything in place underneath. So I figured, all right, I can't find it. Next best thing is I'll just buy a broken controller on eBay that's listed as parts only. I'll get it, take it apart, take the part that I need, put it in the controller that otherwise functions perfectly, and I'm good to go. Issue there was that I couldn't get a broken controller for less than $18 at the time. I think they've come down a little bit in price. I saw on eBay today, 15 bucks or so. Even so, though, I could get a brand new controller, or not brand new, but a fully functional controller for Dreamcast for about 30 bucks or so. 30, 35 on average. I figured, okay, it's more cost effective to just get a new one than to spend my time taking apart this one, taking apart that one, piecing everything together. I'd just rather spend, the extra 10, 15 bucks or so to just get a new controller that I could literally just have to plug into my console. So I was somebody that knew how to fix it, and it still just wasn't cost effective to get the parts and actually make the repair. So I ended up actually parting out my controller on eBay, and I got like 18 bucks for it. So it worked out in the end for me. But you can see easily why, so many of these original controllers are definitely going in the garbage can a lot more than consoles actually are. And of course, there's more controllers out there than there are consoles, because every console on average would take anywhere from 2 to 4 players on it, most case 4 players. So reasonably, we should believe that there would be more controllers out there, but we burn through more controllers as consumers than consoles. Consoles hold their value better. There's more incentive to repair them if there is an issue because they hold their value. So there's less and less of these controllers out there, and it's really hard to get additional ones if you're a retailer. It's hard to maintain the supply of them, and it's even hard, like I just gave you an example on, even hard to repair them just because getting the parts is expensive or just a challenge to source. So That all contributes to why there are less of them, and I think that's a valid reason. The other issue, though, is profit. If these are businesses that are offering these consoles, now I'm not talking about individuals that, all right, I have a Dreamcast controller here, or a Dreamcast console bundle here, for example. I'm no longer playing it. I want to sell it on eBay, get some money to put in my pocket. These people are going to just, in most cases, sell whatever they have. So if it's a generic they're selling it because that's what they've been using. If it's original, that's what they've been using. They're just simply taking what they have, listing it, selling it. So it's a pretty simple process there. For businesses, though, if they are with a Dreamcast console that they want to sell, they have to include then controllers there. They may not have two originals, and to source an original, they have to pay retail. They're no longer being manufactured, so they have to actually pay retail to get that, to then turn around and sell it for retail again. They can mark it up a little bit, but they're not marking it up enough where they're really making a profit where it's worth their time. So what most people do then, if you're a business and you're doing this on a broader scale, they're going to go and locate generic controllers that are really inexpensive and they can actually mark up and make money on. Or if they're not marking it up, they're actually including it in their console bundle, and the value of that is much better if they have multiple controllers than if they were just selling the console by itself. So I'm going to actually show you guys here. I'm going to hit my capture card here, and you guys are actually going to see here on screen exactly how cheap you can get both actually cables and controllers here. And I think it's going to be an eye-opening experience because a lot of people overlook the fact that you can get these so incredibly cheap. So just take a look at this. We're going to get to controllers in a second, but right here we have an AV cable for PS2, 98 cents. Now if you wanted to get an original one, it would be extremely hard to come by because anybody that has one likely has it already with a console. They're not selling just a loose cable in most cases, but it's going to be a whole hell of a lot more than 98 cents, and that's the high end of the price. You're going to see here a difference in price. So this is 75 cents to 98 cents. That depends on how many pieces you include. So pieces are units. So for 50 pieces, you're going to be spending 98 cents. If you were to place an order, let's say your DKOLDIES coming in here to source cables for your entire warehouse, you'd probably be coming in here with a couple thousand units. You're going to bring the price probably well below the 75-cent price point here. So that means every time they have to sell a PS2, the cable's only costing them either 75 cents, 98 cents, or again, much less if they're placing in a massive order. Let's go down to, and you can see here, this is just a supplier that I found. This is all on Alibaba. Alibaba actually places you, actually connects you with manufacturers, wholesalers, and stuff like that. So we can go down here, breakaway cable extension for the original Xbox, 75 cents or 60 cents. And again, if you placed a huge order, you could end up bringing that price down considerably, even from the 60 cents, I'm sure. They're just not figuring on there being that many people that are coming in with, 1,000 unit order. But, for somebody like Lukie Games or DKOLDIES, that wouldn't be out of the question at all. And this is something that most people would never even think to look at. Is the breakaway cable on my Xbox original or not? It's just one of those weird things that I don't think people are really looking for. Over here we have some generic N64 controllers. In fact, these look like what you see on any of the websites that I've talked about so far in this video. $4 to $5.50. This is based on 50 pieces, so 50 units total. And again, if somebody came in here and said, hey, I want 1,000 green, I want 1,000 of the Arctic blue or whatever, you could probably bring the price down below $4. That is a really low price when you think about what they are likely selling these for. I've seen on DKOLDIES they're selling them for $24.99. So that is 5 times their price, or more than 5 times their cost price. So you can see quite easily how they make money off of this. And I'm not, criticizing, I'm just pointing out straight facts here. You can definitely make money here versus, all right, I'm looking for an original N64 controller. Doesn't matter whether you're a retailer or not, you're going to pay whatever the current value is on that. You're not going to get it for anywhere near $5.50. unless somebody's trading something in and you're essentially lowballing the hell out of them to get what they want, and you're giving them a credit or whatever. So in most cases, they have to pay retail to get the original controllers. They can certainly make a lot more money paying these prices. So we'll go down here and just take a look at a few other options. So here we have Xbox 360 controllers. Now these look to be wired. I suppose some people would buy wired ones. I wouldn't. But 540 to 650. Here we have, this is PS3. That's wired as well. I don't think anybody would want a wired PS3. Let's see. So PS2 right here. Look at the price on a generic third-party PS2 controller. $250, and that's the high end. So imagine, this is based off 50 pieces. Imagine somebody comes in, all right, I want 1,000 units or 5,000 units, which wouldn't be insane for one of these major retailers out there. You could assume, let's say $2, or actually, let's say $250. We'll say the high end here. I'm selling on DKOLDIES a PS2 console, a fat PS2 console. I would imagine that's probably $200, their prices, including 2 generic controllers there, which is what they do. My cost is $5 for the controllers. And we already saw what the cost was for the cable. The cable was, the AV cable was 98 cents. You can see how an insane amount of money gets made by using generic cables and controllers here. So that's a big thing that would definitely play a role into going the generic controller route versus original. Same thing here. We're seeing GameCube's controllers here. These are the translucent looking ones. They look kind of cheap. These ones look pretty original there for the silver one. It just doesn't have the Nintendo stamp on it. You could definitely sell some consoles paired with these. $370 to $420. So essentially $8 for a pair of these with a GameCube, which probably sells for over $200 on DKOLDIES website or Lukie Games. Again, a lot of money is made off of these generic controllers here. So a lot to consider when you start thinking about, why is this being offered with that controller? It comes down to supply and demand, and it comes down to profit margins. And using generic third-party controllers definitely boosts your profit margins. Just looking at the PS2 there, $5 for a pair of those versus probably $25 in cost alone. Saving a lot of money, making a lot of money. So that is my take on this whole thing. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. That is going to do it for this video though. Smash the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the content here. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop for all future videos. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. I'll see you on the next video.